Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Mindful Merchants. You guys know who I am, Cali Reseller Luis. You guys know who this guy is right here, the Lone Star Picker, the man without the cowbell.
I lost my cowbell. So usually, you guys, I have a cowbell and I ring it. And it's like I lost it in an auction. Somebody got so ticked off. They said, "Oh, I'm going to buy it." I said, "Not unless it's $38 for this one little cowbell."
Dang.
They bought it.
To get you another one.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know Cali Reseller Luis, you all need to check up on him and do that. And I am Lone Star Local Louie. I have a very special guest today. They are out of, if I may say so, out of San Antonio. And I've met them before and actually had the privilege of being a neighbor to them in a pop-up. And they are better known as Be Kind Rewind, or if you're on Instagram, it is Shop Be Kind Rewind. Feel free to introduce yourself, y'all.
How y'all doing, everybody? My name is Brian, and this is my lovely wife, Ashley. We are Be Kind Rewind. We're based out of San Antonio, Texas, and we love clothing, and we love selling clothing, and it's a good life,
That's awesome. Right now, do you guys have strictly just right now on terms of like social media? Are you guys on TikTok or just Instagram?
So we're on TikTok. We're just not very active on TikTok.
Now that learning curve.
Yeah, it's
Never felt so old in my life.
yeah, it's definitely something
we'll talk about that because I got an expert in the house. And I was going to point the other way. We're always doing the like, which way am I pointing? But Luis, believe it or not, Luis has figured out a couple things about the algorithm, and he's doing. What was the highest views you've had on yours?
36,000 views.
What?
Yeah.
So it can work, you guys. You can. There's a way to do it, and what you can do is spit that feed and kick it back up into Instagram, and it's so you're not doing hardly any work. You're just doing it, and I think it's like a share mode. It's like automatically may go. It's kind of like when you do Instagram, they want you to feed it to like Facebook or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to.
Well, I mean, it's just an idea because it'll get you like more traction, but it also gets you familiar, and it's also like, why do more work? But really,
exactly,
put yourself out there. Yeah.
Dude,
yeah, exactly.
And then you can put it on both platforms. You do one video, put it on both platforms. Two birds, one stone. Why not?
Exactly. Ashley, who's the more active on social media?
Oh, definitely Brian.
This is where
not good with social media.
Louis should have warned you. Like Louis likes to ask those little mischievous questions. No, but we're not going to go too deep. Real quick before we start, we have a little thing we do here, and we're going to say hi to everybody. And I'm going to put them up. Would you do me the honor, Louis, to say hello to everybody as we go through? Definitely. And our first person here is.
Hello, Ella. Good to see you.
Hey, Ella. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining us.
Her name is Save Here First. So most of what you're going to see here, y'all, because I know you're not into YouTube yet. Maybe, and I think you guys would kill it. Although I will say it does take a little work, but I would say if you ever decide to go into it, join a community like this, they're always willing to like, oh, you don't know that? Do this, or this is
that's the great thing about our community. Everybody's willing to share. Yeah. Share games.
Yep.
Yeah, and you guys, speaking of which, I remember when I'm going to go on here, and then we got Flipping Sports Guy.
What's up, brother?
Hey,
thanks
Paul,
for joining, man.
Buddy?
He's out of he's a Pennsylvania guy. He's a good guy. He's finding some
good old Pennsylvania. I spent some time in Allentown. That's a good little city right there,
Isn't it? Yeah, I love Allentown. And the thing about and Paul, his Flipping Sports Guy, and you can watch any of these guys' videos and stuff, and so like and by the way, if you guys don't know, our guest today is Be Kind Rewind. Check them out on Instagram. That's where they are right now, and that's where they're going to have the information. Go down, like, subscribe, give them some comments, check out their content. We have, guess who? Harry Humstone.
Hey, Harry. How you doing, buddy?
Harry, what's up, brother?
He's a sweetheart. He's fun to watch. He does videos, but he does these lives, and he's just sitting back, and he's like, all right, time to drink a beer. This is what I found,
Yeah.
This one's for you, Harry.
All right. Who's this, Luis? Who do we have?
Zilla.
What'd she say?
I said about a month ago before going home.
And this one, you guys, check out this name. Can you say this name?
Otnik drop files.
It is.
Optic
Guess
drop.
what it is spelled backwards.
It's Ford Pinto spelled backwards.
For
You guys, this. What did I get myself into? How do we get on this?
capital letters, man. That's
Yeah.
He's a character, and none other
I
than
love
Tom Cruise. Here we go, buddy.
Tom
Oh,
Cruise,
How
you
are
know,
you doing, Tom?
we've been big fans for a long time. I would love you in Top Gun, man. It's great that you're here.
It's
I
none
like,
other
you
than-
spell your last name correctly too.
All right, we got it here. All right, that was Harry. We got a few more. Let me see if I got. Okay, we got Ella. Oh, wait, this thing keeps jumping. Let me make sure I didn't skip somebody. There it is. We have because he changed his logo.
Yep.
On this. So
Cajun
That's Johnny.
Roots.
Alert.
Johnny
What's
has
up?
2 or
Hey,
3
Johnny.
channels. He's originally from Louisiana, but
Yeah.
he's up in I think New England or something.
He traded
Johnny,
the crawfish for the clam chowder.
He can cook. This guy has a cooking channel too, but
Oh,
he's a
yeah.
reseller,
That's awesome.
and now he
I'll
has
tell
this,
you, man.
this new one. It's crazy. It's just for lives, and he does bingo on YouTube where they give gifts and things away. It's just fun. It's just crazy.
Oh, that's cool, man. I've never met a Cajun who can't cook, so you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he could cook.
Yeah. All right. I think we caught up for now. We'll stop a little bit later. We'll say hi to everybody and shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for being here. If you don't know it already, you best to believe you better know it. We got Be Kind, Rewind. This is a dynamic duo. They're badasses. They're
Man,
great
we
at what they do.
appreciate that, brother.
No, it's true. I'm you know what? I got to say this. So, and then sorry if there's a lag. So just like I'll stop or, we'll give you a chance to breathe and respond on here. But I had the honor of parking next to y'all. And I wasn't even supposed to be at that pop-up, but I did like a splitsy with, as you know, his name is Free for Chubbies, Ian. And
Ian, our brother Ian.
yeah, brother Ian, and he was at the Spider House pop-up last week. And we're talking about here in Austin, Texas area, or let's just say Central Texas, because that way it's more all-inclusive. Doesn't include Dallas necessarily, but hey, and, but
That's okay.
all the way to Waco, all the way down to San Antonio. So, you guys tell us a little bit about how did you guys figure out like reselling is a good thing, and how did it come about that were you married first, or did you guys do pop-ups first and then you?
So our story kind of starts, at least with vintage reselling. She's been into vintage way longer than I have. When we met in 2013, she was trying to bring me to vintage stores, and I was a little Hollywood boy, and I was
I
like,
don't wear used clothing.
I wear Versace, and that's it. Like, so she would take me to my first vintage stores, and the first piece she ever bought me was it was a jacket from the real estate company Remax, and it was like a multicolored jacket, probably from the mid 80s, and it had like hot air balloons on the back, and it was really, really cool. She got it for like $4. I loved it. I was like, all right, you kind of got me. And then slowly from there, she would take me to stores and finally got me into, it's like, dang, okay, you can find cool stuff secondhand.
But as far as like reselling goes, Brian's always sold kind of all of his designer pieces, like stuff he didn't wear anymore. So we were selling on rail, just mostly menswear, doing a lot of designer. And then we started seeing other vintage things that people were posting. So we're like, all right, well, I got some vintage pieces, let's try it. And then we were able to started to make a lot of sales, and then
And that's where I think it kind of like cha-ching. Oh, this is fun, honey. Yeah, now let's eat Chinese food tonight. Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
And we both really wanted to leave our corporate jobs. That was like our main goal. Is like everything we do has one core thesis, and that's that we don't want to boss again. Everything we do goes back to that. And so we were able to luckily quit our jobs, and we're on the slow and steady up, but But it's still scary sometimes, but like I wouldn't trade this in for anything. To be your own boss, to be able to go source, to be able to go do pop-ups and meet people. Like when we met Louis, like it's stuff like that, like I live for that. I love meeting new people who are into this stuff. I love connecting and just there's so many factors of why I love doing this. It's the only sustainable clothing out there,
And it's also seeing other people connect with the things that you're buying.
Yeah.
That you have you feel a little something for, and then as soon as someone else sees it, and like seeing their reaction and like how pumped they get about it, just makes you that much more excited to like, keep going and keep putting all.
I love this. You guys are going right into this, and this is perfect. I don't even have to ask you guys questions. We're just gonna, because you guys are really, you're on it. Because so what we're talking about today, I guess I didn't mention it, so I should have. Let me give a little preface here for those. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Those are coming and going. If you're there and listening, we're talking about reselling, but from a different perspective, right, Luis? We're going to talk a little bit more about whether you want to call it flea market, pop up market cultures, places that make reselling available in a unique way that we can get cash flow a little better. And I love your story because, as you guys said, no matter if you were married first or not, you guys met, you have this commonality, and that's rich because, and I mean, not rich like in a monetary sense. That's rich in terms of like being able to be successful, knowledgeable, having these kind of like credentials of like, hey, I have this information. I'm not saying you guys always agree, but like, no, look up that. No, that ain't worth nothing. You better go look that up. You don't have to like it, but the girl that's going to pay $100 for that is going to like it, And then you're like, that's okay. And
and we really did start with mostly menswear, and then I like started to put a couple things out in the rack, like lady stuff out in the rack, and then just kind of took off from there.
Is that how it went for y'all? Because when I visited Luis, when I visited their pop-up, bro, I mean, it's polished, and I'm not gonna give Brian a lot of credit here because I know who does it. But they work together. He may do some heavy lifting or vice versa, but you guys work like, and I'm sure he gives you his opinion and vice versa. But the thing is, she has these wonderful racks, and they're like supreme vintage and really good styles and stuff. And when we do get kind of accosted, like, is it only vintage? Maybe not. We sneak in some streetwear and stuff like that. Really cool.
Yeah, and especially, and I think that's important because you also have to know like your clientele and your market. Like when we sell in Austin compared to San Antonio, we might switch things up because we know people might want,
are looking for more designer stuff, like for the higher end.
Yeah, Louise, I remember you found like it was a newer liquid blue Alice in Wonderland shirt, and the graphic was just so great. It was a little newer, but like something like that.
But for $5, I couldn't pass it up because I knew somebody's gonna go, I love mushrooms, I love Alice in Wonderland, I love that banger of an image. Like, and I appreciated that.
So good.
And like really our passion is traveling. And once we realized like, wow, we can go travel and source, like that's when it was like, all right, this is what we really need to push to do. And you mentioned our buddy Free for Chubbies, Ian, earlier. It's funny because we're in Santa Fe right now, and the first thing we found here is I think Ian's spirit really came into our trip because this is
nice.
our first thing we found.
We'll come in a little closer just for some small. That's the first thing you guys.
Big, Louie.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, thanks for reminding me, bro. Stay there, y'all, because we're gonna make you. We're gonna. Let me take my face out.
There you go.
Oh shit! Yeah. Where did you? Is it okay to ask where you found that? Did you?
Yeah, we found it in a little outside Santa Fe. I honestly don't remember what the city was called.
Nice.
Was it a vintage store? Or?
It was a little mom and pop like thrift store.
Humane.
Yeah. And on like
the blue tag.
Congratulations! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Ian's the one who got that for me. I'm chalking it up to Ian vibes for that one. So
his energy is awesome. I told Luis a little bit about him. Actually, I spoke to him on the phone a little bit today. We found out there's Well, we're going to be all over the place because we're excited. You know, like I love. So when I met them, Luis, I'm sorry, dude. And please jump in because I know you. I really want you to ask some rich questions because Luis.
No,
is
no,
really
definitely. We have a question in the chat too for him.
Okay, I'll get to that. Just hold that question for a second, you guys. But I wanted to say is the between the both of them, they're not that they're just really nice and polite and wonderful people, but they have a good social, you know, like extension that I think I can see marketing how important that is. But you guys are really truly genuine for what little I got to meet you and know you, and I really want to say I you know, I honor that. I respect and I appreciate that because, you know, I'm like the old guy in the game, and you know,
You're the Theo.
Yeah, I'm the Tio Louie. So it's like in there, and it's funny. There's an inside joke because there's this guy named they just call him Tio on Instagram. And speaking of which, real quick, you guys, shout out to everybody in the chat. Instagram is having issues. So if you go down below and you click on Be Kind Rewind's link, give it about a day or two. I don't know what the heck's going on with Instagram.
Yeah.
They screwed up. So hey, we're gonna leave you. Do you guys mind being like this? Is that okay? So in case if you guys have anything else you want to share, you're welcome to, or just talk about.
Thank you.
So back to Ian. Yeah, so Ian is a really good guy. Yeah, and you know, so I gotta give him props and shout out to Ian. I'm gonna tell him to watch this. Thanks to Ian because I was able to go into that market, but it was a fair deal. Like it was his idea because he wanted in a market I had, and I thought, you know what? Why can't we help each other? He says we can collaborate. And
it's stuff like that that I love. You know, we can all help each other get to, you know.
And that's just it. You know what? I may not like what you guys sell or anything, but I gotta respect it. You know what I'm saying? And actually, I do love all your stuff. You guys have great eye. Your presentation is super polished. Me, I'll just throw it in a pile and let them dig. I don't care. You know, if I make $1,000 that day, I've done it. Like ask Ian.
And that's the thing. Like, there's so many different. When you go to a pop up, there's so many different styles of how people present themselves. There's you learn there's no wrong way. You know, it's everybody has their own style of how they want to do it. I love that. You know?
Good point. I'm glad you mentioned that.
But unique, you know, because like just like you were saying earlier, like, you know, there's different terms and words: pop up, flea market. You know, when we're in LA, it's flea market. No one says pop up. No one says it's flea market. You know, and then if you come down to Texas, a flea market is more like, you know, like the Kyle flea market or the Bussey's flea market, where it's like
it is, but then it's weird because it can depend on demographic, and I mean geological demographic.
Exactly.
Is that the one thing that got me going back into it? And I had so many reseller, or I should say vendors, come up to me and go, "Oh, why do they call it that?" And it's this one I called Uncommon Flea, which I think you guys would kill, and you know, you can bring a wide assortment of stuff, and you don't have to just bring clothes. Like it could be, but it's interesting because they are I think they're like, so I don't want to go off in that tangent, but they are like a unique specialty niche, like weird oddities, stuff that
that's
you would
really
think.
Cool.
And yeah, and they've been on TV shows a lot. Like I've seen them in these like reality shows where people would visit that store. This is back when they were on Congress. Now they're like literally I can walk to them from my house. And I said, why don't I just do it one day? So I went there, figured it out. I went, this is a wide array of weird, individuals. There's a guy that sells vintage photographs that are nude women, mostly.
Oh, see, like that's really cool.
Yeah.
Really,
that's all he does. And they're like, he makes reprints of them and he sells them, you know.
Wow, see, that's really cool. It's kind of bordering like on art also, you know, like
very much, yeah. And that's it, because we want to make sure that pop-ups are not strictly, you know, like, so if you guys wanted to come in and say, I found this vintage stuff that is like accessory related. It's not necessarily attire like shirts or dresses or whatever, but like you find the right accessories. I sell hankies. I sell, you know, whatever.
I sell watches. Yeah,
exactly.
She sells a ton of belts and scarves. Like she can't hold on to scarves.
Oh, I remember seeing that. So let's include Luis real quick, and shout out to everybody in the chat. This is none other than Be Kind Rewind, or if you're on Instagram, it's called Shop Be Kind Rewind.
Yeah.
Luis, so we were talking about this actually in Brian. So I was going to say so everybody has their like little weird spin on how they present things. So Luis, I got to see he posted an image on his Instagram, and hopefully you guys will connect. And if you guys have any
Oh, we
connection,
will. Yeah, we're gonna.
yeah, definitely connect when Instagram gets unscrewed up.
Yeah.
But Luis is the guy you want to keep in touch with respect to other social medias. Like if you have a TikTok, just reach out. He's very helpful. But I was going to say,
we appreciate
look
that.
at his picture, and he's been doing flea markets since he was a kid, like me, with my family or friends.
She has too, yeah. So it becomes a generational thing, you know. It's really cool.
And it becomes that familiar thing, like it's my money. I ain't got to share it. I can be my own boss, you know.
Exactly.
And I'm in control.
You know.
Which flea markets did you grow up doing?
Me?
Luis. Oh, Luis.
Oh, me? I used to go to the Vineland swap meet in Puente.
Yeah.
We used to go to the Paramount swap meet, and then we used to go as far as east as Indio to the Indio swap meet as well.
Oh, you did do. Oh, that's right. You said Indio.
Indio's a neat place, you know. I'd say it'd be a little picker's paradise out there.
That's what I was gonna say. I heard you can find stuff, right?
Yeah. You know, as Luis knows, it's not easy to pick in LA. Like, I have the utmost respect for someone who can. We have a group of friends that picks and resells in LA, and every time I'm like, man, y'all are on another level. It's because, you know, it's doing this and sustaining is tough, and then when you have the added element of like, oh, I'm in California, like things are very expensive here, you know? So you know, that's awesome, man. I'm so glad, you know, you can do this.
Yep.
So
yeah, my dad's been doing the Golden West swap meet down in OC.
Yeah, North County.
So you're from the South California area?
Yeah, I'm from Orange County area. Specifically Mesa, Huntington Beach.
You may have said it and I totally forgot. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, it's all right.
We've been a million places too, so I don't.
Yeah.
Well, when I was looking at Brian's, so I noticed you guys have a connection, and that's pretty bold because some people kind of like to keep their life a little private. Maybe when you guys become a popular, might want to not put those links on there. Just let them know you as Be Kind Rewind. If they're close to you, then they get to know who you are. But maybe that's just me being the protective uncle here. But long story short, yeah, because like when I looked at yours, Brian, you're like, I love to travel. I think, or one or both of y'all said that. When it's there in your pictures and whatnot, you know, and that's the one beauty about being in the niche of pop-ups. And if anybody's new to this or rewatching this, and pop-ups are basically like a flea market or just a market day kind of thing, you know, like you have, what do they call produce markets? You know, essentially
like farmers markets. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Question in the thing, and Luis, was this the question or was there one prior to it?
So we don't have an antique booth. We were in a retail space for a while in San Antonio, and we just got out of that situation. We are probably going to be we're looking for another retail space. We're not in a rush. We really love doing pop-ups and traveling. We like doing them in different cities, you know. And I guess having a retail spot again will be in our like 10-year plan. But I think for right now, we really love the freedom of being able to move when we want to, and you know, like go here, go there, spend a week or two, spend a month here. You know, we really love that freedom. You know. Something we cherish more than money.
Well, and I think it's a great question because it lends itself to often a dialogue that we have just for resellers, but also like the whole idea of just anybody that maybe is like, yeah, how do I get involved in like, you know, doing a pop-up? You know, maybe I want to just sell plants or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
or you know, CBD oils, whatever.
You can really do whatever you want. I always will. You know, push people to just find something you love doing, because if you love doing something, it's not work, you know. If you love doing pottery, like you can, you know, start making pottery. Once you get good, you can do pop-ups. You know, we did a pop-up with a lady who actually had her pottery wheel there. She was making pottery live, you know, at the pop-up. I just thought that was so cool.
To me, it really extends itself for something that, I mean, it's Eurocentric in a way, because for thousands of years, if you follow history, hundreds, let's just say hundreds, and you go back to like where you see like old illustrations or just history books that talk about markets and stuff, they were the reason that people that came from out of the woodworks, if you want to call it that, or they had to go to the market, because they would trade, they would do other things. And it's great because I often I'll see buy, sell, trade. But the reason I brought the whole pop-up thing and the question below, because that can be an extension, because there's this place in Taylor, Texas, I'll tell you all about. May not be interested in it. It's kind of far.
We've heard of that place in Taylor. It looks pretty cool, actually.
We'll talk about it, yeah, because I'll talk to you like on the side of that, because there's details I can give you about it. And it's a good place, but it's
okay.
He has the term, and it's actually a very nice young couple that run it. They run it in a very specific way, which I like, and they're good about it. But I don't know that pop-up is for everybody, because he doesn't call it a pop-up. He just calls it market days. But it is essentially a flea market, more so.
Yeah, see, that's really
when
cool.
I went there, I brought vintage clothes, and I was one of the only ones doing it, and I killed it.
See, that it's cool to be the only vintage seller. Casey Roots, I also wanted to add something. Before we were in a retail store, I felt like that was my main goal, was to get to a retail store. That's how you, quote unquote, have made it. And once I was in a retail store, I realized that, yes, in the eyes of everybody around you, it kind of legitimizes your business.
Yeah.
But there are people I know that will probably never open a retail store and will make more money than anybody that opens a retail store. So once I kind of learned that, and I was like, it's cool to have it. It gives you legitimacy. But if we're talking about like cash flow to live, there's variables
that's kind of why I wanted to bring up that question. By the way, Luis, I think you were mute because I didn't hear you. But was that the question you were talking about earlier, Luis?
Yes, the one with Johnny. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thanks for clarifying that, because we were like, you were talking about cash flow, but we often talk about. I guess I ran off of the tangent, but I wanted to let you finish. We talk about, and you guys are a couple, and you're gonna one day say, okay, we're gonna, the pop-up thing's good, or let's just say it just takes a curtail where it slows down, but it's still good. And you have a whole grasp on a couple certain ones, like let's keep those, let's keep going to the Rose Bowl or whatever, but the thing is you always, in terms of business and what you were mentioning earlier, that's a great marketing thing, is it's like, how do you get more cash flow, but how do you get multiple sources of income? So you guys can we're going to be in town, these days, and the weekend, so you can replenish. Let's say if you get an antique booth, and I don't like that term, but whatever, and right now I've been watching antique booths, and they are throwing in that fire like of vintage clothes. They're getting it. People are realizing.
Yeah, it's filming for sure.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. It's the past couple of years, as vintage has gone up in value. You have it used to be you could go anywhere, nobody knew what the stuff was. You could get it for dirt cheap, and now you go to the estate sales. The estate sale companies know about clothes now. They're pricing them up. It's real interesting. It's really interesting.
Hey Larry, thank you for. I'm sorry to cut you off, bro. Thank you for mentioning that. He just given a statement. I live in San Francisco. I have a group I work with to have pop-up flea market. And that's hard. And I was born and raised in San Jose, so that's how Luis and I have a connection. I'm from Cali. Maybe that's why
the Cali connection here. That's why we all get along.
It is a little bit, yeah. And I grew across the street from the biggest West Coast flea market, and since I was little, and that was the San Jose flea market, and it's still there. I just found them on Instagram, and they're fun to follow, because guess what? Now all these new, up and coming entrepreneurs or resellers, they're like, we got a pop-up at the San Jose flea market. And I'm just like, because I remember seeing them go from like really like yard sale kind of people in trucks back in the 70s. I mean, I remember this. I was little, but I remember kind of going, what the? And my reason was my best friend David Nunes and I were like, go there. And I would go with a nickel and some change and quarters in that dollar so we can get food. And I would come home with stacks of comics or baseball cards or whatever. And then, occasionally like find a cool t-shirt and then it went from like wholesale stuff that was, made overseas that was just plastic junk. pretty much.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're reinventing themselves again, on a big scale.
Man, that's really cool. Hey, Larry, thanks so much for letting us know about the pop-up this Friday. I wish we could make it to San Francisco by Friday because we would have been there.
I
One of
know
my
you
best
guys
friends
would.
is in the Marina District. But please, when Instagram gets back running, there's our little name right there. Follow us.
I'm
give
glad
us
you guys did that. Yeah.
send us a message because if you have any other San Francisco ones, one of my best friends is in the Marina District and he's bugging me to come visit him all the time. So and I need to. So it'd be a great excuse to come up there. We really appreciate that. Thanks, Larry.
Yeah. Everybody, shout out to everybody in the chat. This is a really special friend. His name is Buffalo Picker. If you guys ever decide to do like multiple sources of income, would you you already admitted, and I was going to ask you what other platforms, because you mentioned Grailed, which is
so
media association with vintage. Yes.
So Grailed, we're on Depop, we do eBay.
We sell on Instagram, and we are going to be making our own site soon. So that'll be awesome. The next stage of development.
I think that's a way to go, but unless you're able to really be brilliant at getting the traffic there, that's nothing. But I think it's important maybe to have that so you can say, go to my website for that Grail.
Exactly, yeah.
For $1,000 piece, because I don't want to give eBay any cut of that. And
also it's kind of like the retail space. Having your own website puts an air of legitimacy to you, and it's in a world where there's so many sellers. It is good to do those things to kind of like add to your repertoire. YouTube, TikTok. I mean, the people that are killing, the people doing good on TikTok right now are killing it. Like that's the future of. That's what the kids are watching.
Here's the thing, Luis. Speak to this, Luis. Tell them about what we had a guest on here who I met on Instagram, and he strictly was only on Instagram, but he finally got a little bit of YouTube, and he's not so concerned with it, but he kills it with tens of thousands of followers or views and stuff. And we had him on there. We picked his brain, and the one thing he learned is he sources on TikTok.
Yep.
Oh. Wow.
He's a Pokemon card seller. He loves it. He's this cute kid. He's a really smart young man. He's studying to become a dentist. But when Luis and I heard what? He's like, oh yeah, people come to me. And then he flips that stuff and triples and doubles it. So I'm thinking
that's really cool.
But it goes to what you said, Brian. It's like that is a new way to think. But like the thing is are you just using it as a form of entertainment or social media for marketing, which is perfect? You want to do that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you can make funny videos. Then people are like, I gotta follow him. I gotta go on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So how do you guys balance all this stuff? Because if you're on several platforms, like you guys like to travel, how do you make sure you're getting people's stuff and orders? Because you have to take vacation mode, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I don't know though. We really do need to step up our online game. We kind of been slacking on that, definitely.
Yeah, we all do.
We've really just kind of been putting all of our efforts into just doing pop-ups.
The pop-ups recently, yeah. Especially with the weather changing. And me and this gentleman right here live in Texas. So doing pop-ups in the summer is just brutal. Luis knows a little bit about it because it can get a little hot in California doing pop-ups, even though it's nice. I mean, still, it'll get warm.
No, definitely. I was out there yesterday, and it was 94 degrees. So
you didn't tell me that, bro.
Yeah, but we don't have, or California doesn't have the humidity
which is nice. But I'm so looking forward to the fall and the winter.
Oh, aren't you, man?
I'm gonna be popped up every day now.
Well, we're doing good on time. We got just a little bit. Let me spit out same time because I know you guys don't want to be stuck in a coffee shop, and I want to say thank you for agreeing to do this.
Oh man, thanks for having us. We really apprete it. Like you're giving us a platform to come talk. You're giving us an opportunity for other people to meet us.
Hopefully, people will come back and see you, and not so much. Hey, I got some more followers, but that's good too. It helps, but that's where. Because that one follower you may make a social connection where like Larry was his name Larry that was or whatever. It's just
I mean,
good to meet people.
Exactly. We just met Luis, so
And
like,
this is fun too, like a meeting
yeah,
of the minds.
it's a meeting of the minds talking about stuff we're passionate about. Like, this is just fun chats for me. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing I wanted to bring up. Now that I'm glad you mentioned that, and I was wondering, oops, as I kick my eyeglasses off. So I know you guys are aware of this. And Luis, I want you to hone in on this. Pay attention, because this is really inclusive. Because if you're going to get in this T-shirt game or whatever, it's going to be. You guys know about bid stitch.
We do know about bid stitch. Yes.
So tell them a little bit about what you know in a nutshell, and I'll contribute if I think there's something more to add.
Oh, us? Oh,
yeah.
I don't know too much about bid stitch. I do know that it's a newer platform, and from what I've heard, their fees are lower than these other places. Is that correct?
This is what I understand. Can I interject real quick?
Please, because I don't know too much. I've been told about it, but I don't.
And I see them popping up at like more of the like vintage conventions.
Yeah.
And like
it's
they'll have a booth.
Yeah.
And
I should have looked them up and already started.
No. Don't ever shoot on yourself. Get it? Haha. But like the whole thing about it is, I'll be honest, I knew about him early on, and I kind of do regret, but I'm not going to get him myself, because we all have lives. We're all busy. And the reason I mention this, Luis, is bid stitch is the next step in the game. What it is a platform, much like Mercari, eBay, whatever, Amazon, but it is strictly for, and I think you have to have at least 90%, whatever the percentage they want, or maybe it's supposed to be all vintage wear on there. But here's the thing, it is strictly a fee per month, and you get all the money. This is my understanding. I maybe correct me if I'm wrong, or if you find out something later, but I just went over this with like Ian's been on it, and he was one of the earlier ones. And if you jumped on right when they were like saying, get on it, get on the train, and they had to work out some quirks and bugs, they did. But once you're on there, you pay like $10 a month or something. That's it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You be selling that money, and it comes to you. Granted, you better keep good record keeping, because we know about this whole thing with Venmo now, with the government saying we're now the threshold is from 5,000 now down to like 500 or 150.
Yeah. They're
going to be taxing us, Luis. So,
they're going to be getting us.
You better keep good records, and I don't, and I'm going to get screwed.
Yeah, I think our whole community is going to have to really start, paying attention to our taxes a lot more.
It's going to be a game changer for resellers in this community and pop-up people. You can't just say, I only take cash. Well, the people are going to walk away, and
they're going to walk away. They're like, I got a card, I don't have cash.
So technology is that double-edged sword. What I was going to get to is there is another one, and I'll just keep in touch. And I can't remember off the top of my head. There's a guy named some people say Cernok, but I call him Chernok's Connection. He's got a nickname, Tank. He's on this new format. It is basically like an integration of Instagram, and I can't remember what, but you go live, and it's a community. And when you go live, it's about sales. You have everything already up there. So he's like, okay, I got this, and they start bidding. It's kind of like an auction thing.
Oh, and that's really
yeah. So you may have a shirt that you like, I at least want $20 out of this. I'd love 50, But what you do is you go, hey guys, we're going to start the bid at 25. Here's our next thing. Okay, next, boom. And you're just, as soon as they do that, they're required to like pay then and there.
Wow, otherwise, that's really cool.
But about Instagram doing that. Go ahead, Ashley, go ahead.
I know, I'm saying we'll have to find out what that is. That sounds awesome. We definitely do want to get more into like doing lives and kind of doing the live sales and that. So great.
Well, you know what? Let's keep in touch, and maybe we need to, like with Instagram, about the underground stuff that's going down, right, with the t-shirt community.
Not really. No.
Because I would say now, like when I first started Instagram, and like probably just barely a year ago, and I told Luis like now, and I want you, Luis, because I'm going on like a mile a minute. I want Luis to talk real quick and just tell him about what his experience in the last pop-up was it with the I'm gonna go out on a limb and Japanese buyers, and that's but real quick, I forgot where I was. Oh, the live after probably about a quarter to about 1/3 of a year, I just started really loving what I do with t-shirts, and I said, but as far as markets go, I love vintage all the way around, but I love t-shirts. That's my little niche passion, but I know I can't make only money on it, because how hard is it to find super fire stuff. It's
exactly. It's getting harder and harder.
It's arduous, right? So while I'm on a night now, after a little over a year being on Instagram, let me tell you, I click on one night and it's exhausting, and I have to really teach myself, shut the phone off at this time, or you will not go to bed till like 3 a.m. And they're literally, the other night I counted 25 lives, strictly t-shirts.
Wow.
I was like, what the heck? You know, and some of them are big names that are like right now trying to get on TV shows and things like that. And then you got your I call them small fish, or just really cool local people, and giving out great deals, you know, and that's what we do.
And
so
everything
Louis,
in between, yeah.
You guys totally get it. And I would say, you know, Instagram's the next game. I'm planning on doing, there's a couple guys I can recommend to you. That there's a guy named Tom. I can never pronounce his last name. It's like Karlak or something like that, but he's a sweetheart, and he does this thing called First Time Fridays. He did it. Yeah, that's and so I've been on ever since, and I'm getting comfortable. What's funny is because I can do this in terms of YouTube, but when I go on Instagram, it's like, it's a whole different interaction. It's more like, and you gotta treat it like, so Luis is one of the few that does it, but he does it on YouTube. He does auctions every Tuesday. Talk, Luis.
I do auctions every Tuesday on my channel. I do a little bit of everything though, like shirts and video games. So I sell a little bit of everything.
How did you get into shirts, Luis?
Oh, I actually started getting into shirts because of Louie. So yeah, you know, I've been trying to build up my collection little by little, and like I said, I've been getting out there, you know.
I'll come in,
selling some shirts, and yeah, there you go.
I'll be on, and he's really sweet. He'll invite me once in a while. I'm like, come on, okay, I got a bundle, all size medium. These are, you know, to what we term mids, meaning like, which are good. They're good. But for resellers, like if I'm selling a reseller bundle, you know, or a mystery package, I'll do that. And I'll go da 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 da, and it sells. You know, and it sells. Maybe not always what I want it to.
Yeah, whoever the high bid is gets it, pretty much.
What was the most? I think you and I have sold stuff for like up to $200 for just a few shirts.
Yeah,
you know, like that's good money.
Auctions are fun too. It's a lot of good energy.
Auctions are great
like
fun.
Really excited, wanting to find the good stuff, get a good deal. It's a lot of fun.
Well, exactly. You know, it's and I think that's what it is. Say again.
That's a little dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, you gotta know not to pull that trigger, because if you're the last one, you're like, why did I bid $500? Crap, you know.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh yeah. Well, yeah, we go to this auction house that's local in San Antonio, and then you're like, bid, you're like, yes, and then you go to the counter and like, oh, that.
And he's grabbing, or you're grabbing his hand, and you're like, no more. Put your hand down.
Oh yeah.
Which is good, because it's better to be with a couple, right? You know, because you gotta.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to pay rent, you know.
Lord. Yeah.
Well, so that being said, is like, that's another multiple source of, you know, like of income that you can, you know, it's hard to balance all this stuff. So there's so many platforms, there's so many different things that are going on. When it comes to the pop-ups, let's talk about the pop-up atmosphere, because we're coming close on time. And like I said, we probably got about 10 minutes left. You guys good on time? You okay?
Yeah.
Your battery's good? Okay. Luis, you're good. Yep. So pop-ups. Yep. Let's talk about pros and cons of it. I mean, let's just be honest. I'll shoot out the first one. Maybe I should let you guys answer, but you guys.
I would say the weather.
Yeah, I would say the weather.
They're mostly always outdoors. It's so hard to find like indoor air conditioned, just big enough space to hold a bunch of vendors. So that's always the first thing that we're like, I don't know,
summers in Texas doing pop-ups is tough, but I will say, I guess the silver lining is like, that's the worst it's going to be like anywhere in the country. So if you can do pop-ups in the summer in Texas, you can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember being a young kid traveling from California. And I grew up in Central California, so that's up more north. And Central Cali, driving all the way to East Texas. Not in East Texas. So like, if anybody's ever done that drive, you're driving from Texas to Texas. That's a whole day and a half, maybe sometimes 2 days, depending on where you go.
The same.
It can be, yeah. And it's like, oh my God, the roads never, you know, yeah. So, but I remember stopping, and like, we would always stop and find markets, you know, one, because there was food and just fun and just get out and stretch your legs. My dad would like give us that honor to run, go wild, and get us back in the van. We got 7 more hours to go. We already drove 7 hours today. We're driving 7 more. But you'd always find these flea markets or little markets in towns, like whether it was whatever Taos or you name it, somewhere in Phoenix or something like that. And it's crazy because it is getting out of hand. Like I'm hearing about it because I watched these lives. I'm seeing so many markets out there. And
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when I was, I lived in San Antonio in the 90s and we didn't have any markets, when I moved to LA.
Flea market. You guys have good flea markets.
Yeah, we had flea markets, but we didn't have any so when I moved to LA in the early 2000s, that's when I was really introduced to I would say the farmer's market is what I was introduced to. And my mind was blown. I felt like I was in Europe or somewhere. I lived in Hollywood for over a decade, and the Hollywood farmer's market, is just the creme de la creme of farmers markets.
They have refrigerators and shit.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And after I went to that, I was like, well, why aren't these everywhere? And
sure.
I think weather is one reason why they aren't everywhere. But I should have bit my tongue because now they're everywhere. And I mean, it's not.
It is one of those things you want to bite your tongue. Which I hear this in the markets, don't tell them, because we don't want nobody to know about our secret market. It's gonna get out.
Especially in the internet days. Louis, how long have you been in Austin for?
I got it as fast as I could. I lived here in the 90s for a short period, but I got back in 2005. So
you remember when Jacob's Well and all those swimming holes, you'd go and there was no one there. In the age of Instagram and TikTok, there's no secrets anymore. Everybody posts it. So it's kind of one of those things where you gotta just you gotta get over it because nothing's a secret
about
anymore.
The gentrification going on here is
Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen it, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, I remember when the east side of Austin was, all low income, and I saw them kick everybody out, and I mean, you saw it too firsthand. It is pretty crazy. I would say there's not a bad neighborhood in Austin anymore. There's not. People might say Montopolis, but there's not a bad neighborhood in Austin anymore. They gentrified the whole city, And
it's funny you talk about Montopolis because you're talking about that Tom Grove's little bodega. You ever see that? So a lot of people don't know about that, but I tell Luis is like, what'd you do this Saturday? I'm like, I went to go meet my buddy Oscar, and we go there, and I'm finding fire shirts because I know one of the guys is one of the guys I meet at the bins, and so that's another rapport in terms of business relationships as resellers, but also just being part of the community. That's not a pop-up necessarily that people may want to go to, but it's definitely a practical and a very needed one.
Yeah, exactly.
Demographic, and I think it's beautiful because I'm probably one of the few white guys that pops up in there, and it's and I don't care. I love it. I go get my food. I know where it is. The vendors are the best. And I met my daughter this week, and she's like, "You come here all the time?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's the guy's over there drunk, and that guy's over there shooting up, and I'm like, "I know," and it's a little seedy. And actually, I almost got my ass rear end because and these 3 homies were like, "What the fuck?" And they were these young kids, and they were in this little short little. You didn't put your blinker on. I'm like, "You're driving like a fucking insane nut," and they were all ready to get out of the car, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, you need to chill out," and they were like, I said, "Just go," and I'm like, and we were ready to bump heads, and it's like, just chill. I gotta go meet my daughter. It's but yeah, because and because I have that rapport, I've seen half of the folks at this little flea market, and it's little, but it's good. I've seen them for 4 or 5 years, and I know them, and they know me by my name, and they're like, how much? They won't overcharge me, but there's some things that get, penalized. Everybody gets taxed, but that's just how bad do you want it? Real quick, Sal's Mercado's here, and he says hello. So hope all is well, brothers. And
Sal, how you doing, brother? Thanks for coming through.
Kind. That's true. Stay humble.
Hey, those are good words.
Reseller Niche. If you guys don't know him, go check out his channel. And we gotta tell you about Jennifer. So if you guys start getting involved in the community of YouTube, we label her the moderator because she will find, if you had a YouTube channel, she would have already posted it 10 minutes ago. She's,
that's really cool. That's cool,
she's
Jennifer.
she is so sweet. She is a lovely person. And Regina Michelle, she is a sister to us. Love her to death. I don't know. If
Thanks for being here, Regina.
She's got a great channel. She goes from like, this is what I sold, and all of a sudden it's cooking. And I'm like, damn it, she cooks.
That's awesome.
She does whatever the hell she wants, you know.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And who else? Oh, we gotta say hi to this guy, Luis. You know.
Hey, what's up, World Rewind? How you doing, bro?
Oh, World Rewind.
Oh, what's up, World Rewind?
He's in Cali, right?
Yeah, another Cali guy.
Yeah, he's bought stuff for me on Luis's auction, and he's like, man, you bundling that crap. It looks like a cocaine bundle. I'll wrap it up. And just put it in two bags of, you know, those poly bags. And it's like, but you know what?
Put it in those. What are they?
I just tape it up.
I'm having a brain fart. Those sealed bags, or the vacuum sealed ones. Send the clothes off in those.
If you see how I do it, it ends up. I will literally push all the air out of it, and then I duct tape that sucker closed. You know, and that's why it looks like a cocaine bundle. It's like, hey, Knight's Life across the pond. He's from UK, sweetheart guy.
What's up?
I am hoping you're recovering and doing well, brother. He's been through a lot this year. He's a great reseller. Even though they're across the pond, we share. He's been on my live. We've done benefits together.
Yeah, it's one community, man. One world, one community. You know?
It is, and we can learn from each other. That's the best
Oh,
way.
yeah.
You never know when you go to UK. He may be like, hey, come over. We'll go get an ale. He's awesome. So let me just say this: you guys are not new to the community in sense that you're resellers, but like, you know, I want other people that watch these YouTubes to see, hey, there is a mass variety of, you know, people that do business for themselves to make a living. And I think it's wonderful to see how you guys do it. And you guys are doing an awesome job. So,
well, thanks. I really appreciate it. You know, I feel it's all about finding your niche. You know, I would don't do stuff you don't enjoy doing. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't enjoy, like, there's so many different ways to make money with this. eBay, internet, pop-ups, retail store. Find what you love doing and do that, because you don't have to do what everybody else is doing.
And
let's say you hate selling online. You can make all the money you need and not sell online. You just got to find what you love doing and just pursue that. Or if you like, you know, I like to be multifaceted. I'm not like the best at each one, but I'm good at all of them. And I like to do that, but find your niche and run with it, you know?
Because it's very good for a lot of people just to find their passion for fashion.
Yeah, just passion.
Their passion in the first place, but to be able to make a living off of it.
It's insane, you know? I was in the music business for a long time, and that was my passion, music. I wanted to make a living off that.
It's so saturated here in Austin, isn't it?
And everywhere. And I was in LA, you know, and you know, and I had offers. I had, you know, record contracts thrown at me and stuff like that. And I mean, it's so hard to make money in music. I still wasn't making any money, And so when I felt very, very fortunate when I found my next passion in life, which was, it always been there. It was dormant, and I didn't know that I could make money off this. But when I'm
glad you mentioned that, Brian, because like talking about passion is part of like the whole idea about being a mindful merchant. Mindful is just being aware, being conscious of what it is that your drive, like what sets you apart from everybody else. You know, Ashley's got hers, you have yours. Man, we can go on all day on this stuff, but it is crazy, you know.
We've always loved fashion. Just the fact that we've been able to make a living off it.
Well, even if you like talking about music,
you know.
Yeah.
And it took, you know, when I decided I was going to leave the music scene, it was very, very hard for me to like find my next passion. I didn't know if I was going to get to even do it. And so when I did, I would always say everybody has more than one passion. Everybody does. You might not know you have another passion, but you do. It's deep down there somewheres. Yeah. And it'll come out, and you know, you know, just explore it, you know.
And don't be afraid of change, because sometimes what you like may kind of alter, and if that helps you like run a business, you may kind of go in there, but you can be still specialized in that one thing you love or whatever category, you know.
And not to be afraid of failure either, because it's not really failure, it's just
learning. It's like
you said,
the biggest thing for me, you know. It's like I look at failure. I look at failure as like a welcome thing because there's not been one successful person who hasn't failed. It's a road full of failure before you get to that success. You have to learn all the things first. A failure is just your cost of a business degree. That's all it is.
It is that, but you still need support. You guys have each other, and it's good still to be a part of the community so you could hear that, but so-and-so something, maybe he's on to something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and,
that's a big thing. And I find that to be so true. Everybody looks at things differently. So someone's going to have a different set of eyes than you
have. But you have to experience it. So here's an example. Like Luis, I've been telling him for since last year. He's like, oh, you're going to pop-ups? Okay. We had that connection. Luis, I never gave him a chance. Tell him about what you experienced, which I've told you. And I was like, yeah, dude, I've been telling you, these guys will cash you out. And I don't like to use, it sounds kind of racist, but it's like Japanese buyers, but they happen to be from Japan, and they want, I like to, I don't know if it's a term or not, but I coined it as pure vintage, and they want the good shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They do. And if you ever go to Japan, you'll see why.
Or just follow it. Once you get connected with these guys, ask them nicely, politely, bow to them, whatever, and just say, hey, I like your style. I love your taste. I want to learn from you. You're a bit, and I told this to one guy I met, and I saw him at a thrift shop, and we bumped into each other at a second thrift shop the same day, but it wasn't a thrift shop. It was like a boutique for vintage. And so I was like, listen, can I follow you? He said, yeah. What do they call you? And I was like, oh, I get it, and he had like a little nickname on, Instagram. So I was like, really but his niche was adult, like more mature, not for a younger generation. Like he had really specialized vintage. And I thought, wow. And I saw his webpage. I'm like, this guy was killing it. And of course,
the Japanese are on another level. They really are. Like it's kind of insane.
They're obsessed.
I look to them for inspiration all the time. I mean, when we went to Japan, there is a part of Tokyo called Setagaya, which is it's an area about as big as downtown Austin, and it's all vintage stores. They're all niche, they're all specialty, and it's incredible to see.
But I've heard they've been doing that since the 80s.
They've been doing it forever. Like anything we've been doing in America, Japan's been doing it better for decades. And I mean, it's a lot with their culture. They really value craftsmanship. And that's one reason why they love vintage craftsmanship.
And they don't waste any time. When they're on those racks, like if they come to and his funny thing is they're coming to Texas. People go, Texas. Now, Luis just discovered this. I want Luis to go just real quick because he's been quiet and patient. He's always my great host. He's my brother.
I talk a lot, so I apologize.
No. But I was gonna say no. But the reason I just to connect us with this is tell him, Luis, what happened, because go ahead.
Yeah, this actually happened yesterday. I had, like I said, I saw I thought he was Chinese, but Louis said obviously he must have been Japanese. He was about 5'2". He was a really short man.
Yeah, he well
dressed. Okay, well dressed, and he was wearing, what do you call those? I'm not gonna say a man purse, but maybe it is
a merce. Yeah.
I call it a pouch. It's just a pouch.
Okay. Oh, he was wearing one of those, and he looked through my shirts, and then he looked at two, and then he stopped and he asked me. He spoke very little English. He told me, he goes, do you have any $500 shirts and up to sell me? If not, I'm not going to waste my time and waste your time.
Oh, that's something that's music to the ears.
Yeah.
And I told him, well, I don't got any $500 shirts, but I got a couple $100 shirts that you might be interested in. And then he goes, thank you so much. And he goes, have a good one.
I love that because I would prefer somebody direct and then not waste your time. Yeah. But also, it makes you inspired. Like, I need to find some damn $500 shirts, Or how about this? I got $300 shirts. Would you like to look at it? Okay.
I want to get on that level, man.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's the danger of this game. Go ahead, Luis. I'm sorry.
No, he was just looking for any shirts that were worth $500 and above. He didn't want to bother with the rest.
But what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, what you consider $500 could be something else. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, because in Japan, a $200 shirt here might be $500 there. A $100 shirt there might be $500 there. So it's.
But he was looking.
You might have had some 500s, yeah. You might have had some 500s in some Japanese $500 shirts. I'm
gonna say this has happened to me 4 times. Two out of the 4 was the same guy. Okay, cashed me out, just in a good way, like a few $100 cash. I was like close to, and then one guy came close to almost 500 once, and then the last guy, like they come in, they're sniping, and they'll grab everything that's only good, and they know it. It's like
they're experts. Yeah, they
grabbed my M&M bootlegs, this and that, and and they. Yeah, I mean, granted, some people are like, yeah, they want it cheap. No, not all of them, but they do want a deal, and that's fine because I'd rather give them a deal and then come back.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, as soon as you mentioned, like, you see them pulling those good shirts, you're like, I can bundle too, and they're like, okay, like grabbing so many more things. It's always fun.
It's sometimes it's better to sell something cheaper to get that connection because you'll make more money in the long run.
And when
it's
when
about
the bundles
big
come down, what likes like old vintage. It's like it's just a great vintage shirt, but you only paid like $5 for it, and you're gonna sit there and command. I need 75 for that, but in a bundle deal, I'll give it to you for 50. Who cares,
exactly.
It's like
because
he
if you're
sees
making
it coming down, because he wouldn't like it if he didn't look at it, and if he's looking at it, they want it. Which I appreciate that because they're sharp businessmen. I told that to the gentleman I mentioned. I said, listen, I really appreciate your directness. I know you're short on time, but when the time comes, I'd love to take you to dinner. I want to know more about your business. And I looked at his page. He's really sharp. Like, I'll write him and it takes him 2 days to come back to me. Because the guy's jet setting. Literally.
Yeah.
That's not cheap.
Can't wait to get back to Japan and just the few Japanese people that we've met, that have bought stuff from us. We're just always so excited just to talk about, a little bit of knowledge of Japan that we have, and to talk about can't wait to come visit you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel so bad because back in the late 90s, it was the 90s in Cali when I met my my daughter's mom, and her mom was from Japan, and we always talked about going there, and I wish I had some kind of just experience to kind of base that on, now I know. But
well, let's go once they open up, brother.
Dude, let me
we'll
tell
get a group and go.
Well, I already met some shirt rats that I compete with at one of the bins up north, not the one down south. And let me tell you what, I get what they're what they were doing 5 years ago, and they already went a couple times. It's like, but it's what do you have to offer, and it is a business transaction, but at the same time, it's an opportunity too, right?
Yep. And just to go for vacation's worth it, honestly.
Here's my challenge for you guys, because we're on a short note, and I want to let you guys have your freedom back, and I want to say thank you for being here. If you guys don't know, this Be Kind Rewind on Instagram, it's shop Be Kind Rewind. We're gonna get them to drop that shop. I'm just gonna Be Kind Rewind.
I know. I'm just gonna get on the business cards and tags.
No, it's okay.
So.
I'm just giving you a hard time. But here's the thing. Don't spend 2 hours or 3 hours too much. And if you're good at editing, just whatever, or just sometimes do a live. Is you guys like to travel? Do it on YouTube, and maybe integrate that reseller thing. And eventually, I guarantee you, it'll take you about a year to get close to a good sub amount of followers. But I tell you what, if you do it right and if you're consistent, like let's say I do it every Tuesday, the algorithm's going to pick it up and they're going to push you out there. You're going to get a lot of followers, and then later it's not going to show it as often, but because you have a lot of followers, you'll get more views. And so, eventually it'd be nice if you're monetized, because I think you have to have, what is it, Luis, 4,000 hours of watch time?
Yeah, 4,000 watch hours, and then 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, and then you get monetized. Yeah.
Wow.
They'll throw on commercials left and right.
Yeah.
Man.
And the best, and I'm not saying I think they're the best, I'm just saying the best performance in terms of content creators on YouTube tend to be couples, husbands and wives.
Yep.
Hey, well, I really appreciate you bringing us into this and kind of showing us the ropes, because this is definitely something we want to start doing. So I feel like it's great that we
look at it as a business. Yeah, exactly. Just cross-pollinate. Like, maybe we don't want to do YouTube. You know what? I can do this once a week. A quick 5-minute video, we'll go live. Sometimes you just have the video on your dashboard. We're here today, boom, and then take a cut. Look what I found. You never know how it's going to turn on YouTube in terms of, or maybe that's not your platform. Maybe it'll be TikTok. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we're definitely kind of experimenting with all the platforms right now, kind of seeing what we're good at, what sticks, what grows. So yeah,
It's
that's
so much
definitely
work.
gives
It's
me
so much
too.
work.
Yep,
Two of
sure
you
is.
guys can do the work of 3 people. I know you can.
Well, thank you, man. We appreciate the kind words.
You guys, it's a joy getting to know you. And this is a luxury for both Luis and I. We don't really. This is probably the one main line that we do where we get to talk to people, just kind of
Yep.
vent and just think about things like this. And so I just want to say we have gratitude for you guys being here. And we
Yeah,
really
thank you.
wish you a wonderful trip. Just be
Well,
Yeah.
safe.
thank you guys.
Fun.
Thanks for having us. We really
Enjoy it.
appreciate it. Luis,
And
it was wonderful meeting you, man.
Same here, guys.
We'll definitely
Yeah, we'll
connect off
definitely
Instagram
Yeah, definitely,
once
man.
it works again, you know.
Sounds good, man. You guys
Shout
have
out
a
to
safe
Fundamentals
trip
Side
also.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And Louis, we'll be seeing you, I'm sure, in a week or so.
Yeah, might see you at a pop-up soon. I already got booked for October all of a sudden. I'm like, oh crud.
Good, man.
It's,
We'll do some dinner in Austin next week. Let's do it,
that
man.
sounds awesome. Just even some cheap tacos somewhere. I got a couple
Let's do
places
it.
I could show you that are like, if you want to meet for lunch, $10.
Cool, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Abuela Secreta, I think it's called. It's like Grandma's Secret. It's a cheap little hole in the wall. And right next to it is a thrift store. So
There we go. Then
Even
it's a
perfect.
date, you know.
well, I appreciate you guys. I'm glad you guys got to meet Luis. He's a good
Me
too.
He's a good all around bud.
And
He's my brother.
Next time we're in Cali, man, we'll all link up.
Yeah, definitely, man. Reach out.
Yeah.
For sure.
You guys maintain your focus, elevate everybody. Shout out to everybody in the live. Make sure, be nice. And speaking of being kind and rewind, just be kind and follow them at the link below I provided. Later on, show me your TikTok. We'll throw it up there a little later. So,
It's the same tag, Shop Be Kind Rewind.
Okay, there you guys heard it. So anybody who's watched this all the way through, we thank you for your patience being here. Regina, Michelle, and Derek, who is Fundamentals of Side Hustle. Let me put his tag up. They're going to have a show this Wednesday. Guys, check it out. Anybody who's interested in YouTube, they have what they call Wednesday Hump Day. Fun.
Yep.
It's off the hook. It's off the chain. It's just whatever goes. And they have great guests. So
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, we steal their guests sometimes. Vice versa.
Awesome.
Side hustling too. So.
Thank you guys for being here. Ashley, Brian, I appreciate you too. And I look forward to our, business encounters in the future. And I hope we get to do more pop-ups and maybe we'll somehow create some new venture in the future.
Hey, you never know, man. We can explore that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Get some of our homies. Maybe we'll get Luis to fly out.
Dude, let's
see
do
some
it.
of our Japanese buyers.
I know, right?
Or we can all go to California.
Yeah, we
Where
could all
are
take
your
a Cali trip.
$1,000 shirts are higher?
Like, follow us to the back, sir.
All right, Luis, you want to close us? Oh, real quick, you guys want to give us your final words? Anything you want to just shout out? Anything that's coming up, and any final words that you would tell to new resellers? So, go ahead.
We have some pop-ups. We're pretty booked for October. We have a bunch of pop-ups in Austin and San Antonio. That's about it. Most of October, we're going to be in Texas, I think. Hopefully, we're going to try to get to Atlanta next in the next month or so.
Atlanta.
So hopefully that'll work out. Yep.
Definitely.
And yeah, just guys, thanks for having us. Thanks for
thank you so much.
tuning into View. Just remember, man, life is short. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Do what you love.
Take that risk.
I love that you guys said that. Say that again.
I said take that risk. Take that jump.
Exactly.
Life is too short to just.
What you guys both said, both of you mentioned, is follow your passion. Luis, you want to close us out, bro? Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank both of them for joining us tonight. Well, today, I'm sorry. And like I said, once Instagram comes back to normal, make sure you guys go follow them on Instagram. Check out what they're up to, or maybe where pop-up they're going to be at. And you guys can stop by and say, hey, I saw you guys on with Louie. Say hello. And who knows, maybe you guys find a shirt or something that they
dude, it's not just shirts. She's got really great attire that is just
well, a little bit of everything. Beautiful. Vintage. Yeah, definitely. And you guys could catch me tomorrow on my channel for my live auction tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
With this guy.
With Fundamentals of Side Hustling. He'll be on with me tomorrow. So make sure you guys come hang out and check out what we're bringing.
There we go. Appreciate y'all. Everybody, next week we are trying to finalize. I'm going to say something real quick, Luis. I didn't want to bring up, but I'm pretty sure November we might need to take a break because I'm going to be in the middle of a move, and it's also we're going to be deep in the fourth quarter. So
yeah, we might be stepping away for a while.
We may take the majority of November, and I need that because I'm going to be moving to a new place, and all this death pile behind me, I got to figure out what resellers get it, and we'll go from there. But anyway, everybody enjoy your week, and thank you for being here.
All right, guys. Have a good one, guys.
Make sure to follow them. Take care, guys.
Bye, guys.